Hello, grade 8, and welcome to your first podcast of the unit. And this podcast is going to help set you up for success so you can either relate to what we've done in class already or connect to what we're going to be doing in the future that can help you be successful on the test. Now, as of this point, everyone has seen the test questions from last time, so we're moving on so that everyone can see the test questions for this time. Now, I have, for the first slide, your factual questions. And remember, these need to be answered with specific facts. So, for example, what different values and viewpoints on the environment do people have? You need to give specific examples. You need to give facts about different opinions people have. This isn't about your opinion. This isn't about how it connects to anything else. You answer with facts. So, some people believe this. Some people believe this. We mentioned some words in the reading talking about people who are more nature mindset or technology mindset or human mindset. These would be words that you may want to ask in class and write them down, take some jots in your notes on how to answer that question. So when you're writing these down in your notebook, take one of the questions. So take what different values and viewpoints in the environment do people have, write it in your science notebook. Skip some lines. Then, what are the characteristics of a healthy environment? Skip some lines. When you feel like this has been answered in class, when you feel like it's been answered in a video, when you feel like it's been answered in discussion, when it feels like you've answered it with your friends, when you do your own research on it, you can go back and put them under the question that you left space for right now. Then when you study for the test, you study those notes that you took, specifically related to the question that you're about to answer. When you come in, you're prepared, you understand or you know which questions you're going to answer, you know which ones you know the best, and then you come in with confidence. I noticed a lot of students not coming in with confidence last time because they weren't set up for success. This is how you can set yourself up for success. If you don't finish within the time frame next time, you still will not be allowed to take a retest, okay? The only time you can take a retest, if I come in, I see you've prepared, you may have not done your best, you really tried to finish it within the time frame, then you can go ahead and take a retest. If I see that there's some wait time, you're not really utilizing your time well, you're sitting there with your head on your shoulder, I'm not going to let you retake if you don't give the effort in the first time. Then where am I going to think that you're going to put the effort in the second time? This is what a retest is about. It's about knowing that you can do it, but then take that time to then do better. If you're going to utilize that time like that in class, then I'm going to take the test at the end, and you can come in, you'll get 1 grade. Now that we're all understanding of the expectations, let's move on to the other questions. So we have factual, they're all there. You can pause the video if you'd like. There we go. So, these are your conceptual questions. These are the ones that I want you to use examples for. So, conceptual means that you grasped all the concepts we talked about in class. You could bring up the debates, you could bring up the reading, you could bring up specific examples of things that I've talked about, things that your classmates have talked about. So what determines how humans develop and manage natural resources? This can be based off that discussion you guys had in class with the big line on the board. Then how we get to certain places, how we manage those natural resources. Even when I had you guys get in a group as like a Congress to kind of create a law, you could go ahead and use those specific examples that you talked about. Then this also goes back to, if you're not utilizing that time in class, then you're not being able to answer these questions with the discussions. You're only setting yourself up for success the more you participate in these conceptual questions. We also go further and deeper into the concepts with the more time that we have. So the better you utilize your time, the more we're going to be able to develop this. Okay? And then our natural resource objective with that short presentation you gave last class was more to be able to understand how to answer these questions. Then we have the debatable questions. This time I'm giving you guys 2. You have to have an opinion, it has to be stated, and you have to back it up with ideas. But they have to be scientific ideas. They can't just be, for example, to what extent do people have the right to use natural resources? Well, people have the right to use natural resources because people have rights. That's not going to be a good enough answer. That's not going to be a 6 or 7, may not even be a 5. Probably not, maybe like a 1 or 2 answer, because you're just stating an opinion, so you have that part to it, but your justification doesn't really have any oomph, doesn't have any thought. It just has, this is what I think. It's not really acceptable in debatable questions. You have to have ideas. You have to conceptualize your ideas. You have to be able to bring forth your feelings as well as be able to back them up. So this is what I'm looking for in these debatable questions. It's not as much about content. It's can you go ahead and back up your perception of what you think the answer is. And then some people say back and forth. You can also do that. Everything exists on a spectrum. So if you do believe in both sides, make sure that you justify reasons for that. Then the last one, your learner profile focus on this test will be principled. So you have to be able to tell me how you were principled in class. You need to give a specific example. So start looking back in the other classes and start thinking forward in the future. So are you doing everything on time? Did you create a plan for yourself to be successful with the Google Classroom content? Have you been working with your team? You realize that after your feedback, you got together, you made a plan, you're doing these things that now are setting you up for success. You're following your principles. The other one, this is going to be the one I want you to focus on the most. These would be okay, but if you give me a specific example about how you followed your principles in class and how you held others to your same principles, that would be a really eye-opening answer for me. So it's how are you being a learner within the learner profile by standing up to your principles and knowing what they are and then living by them, essentially. So that's going to be your test. So you can watch this once without taking notes. If you didn't do that, what I would do is then I would go back to the beginning, go back to the questions. You can pause it on the questions and take that time to write it down. There's a long enough pause that you can write these down through just pausing the video. Anyway, that is that. If you guys have any questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comments. And grade 8, I hope that you're having a wonderful whatever time of day it is that you decide to watch this. And I'll see you in class.